All right, quick little poll here. As a child, what was your favorite thing about Easter growing up? Yeah? Oh, candy? The Easter baskets. Okay, great. Yes. Oh, Robert. New clothes. I did a sermon on that one time. That was really, I never knew that as a tradition. Like you get new clothes for Easter. What a crazy concept. I love it. Anything else? Deviled eggs. Yeah. Easter egg hunt. Joshua. Oh, right, yeah. Because I told someone I was on a diet, so I was just eating eggs, and they're like, oh, scrambled? And I said, no, Cadbury. And that's not a good way to lose weight. Yes, other things? Sunrise service. Why does Searchlight not have a sunrise service? Because your pastor can't wake up that early. But if you want, you can get here at 6 a.m. and someone else can do it. And that'll be great. Yeah, I used to wake up for an Easter sunrise service. I just can't do it anymore. I'm sorry. But maybe I'll do that. You'll have to hold me to this. I've always wanted to do the Christmas midnight service. Go 11 p.m. to midnight. Wouldn't that be cool? Now, I could do that one. I could stay awake long enough for that. The other ones I can't. Okay. Yeah. What was that? Oh, that as a kid, there was truly an Easter bunny. Yeah, good. Yeah, other things? Oh, Easter bunny. Yeah, good. Yeah. I hear his foot is lucky. Not the big guy himself. Yes, Tracy. The Easter egg hunt. Now, I'm surprised. Out of curiosity, this was not what I was expecting. I thought for certain everyone would say the Easter egg hunt, right? Isn't that the most exciting part about no, it's not. Wow, what's your favorite part? Candy. Okay, you know what? But the eggs have the candy in them. So you can't get the candy without hunting, right? But, you get the Easter baskets, yes. I didn't grow up with Easter baskets. I had to work for my candy. It was really terrible. Now, I've been thinking about this because why is it that Easter egg hunts are so popular? I've been really trying to ponder it, and I honestly could not come up with anything. Does anyone have any ideas of why the Easter egg hunt? Why is that good? It's a game, yeah. Yeah, surprises inside. Yeah, maybe that's, yeah. You had to what? Okay, yeah. Yeah, I don't know why there is not more death amongst older people when you hid real eggs and then you had to eat them. You didn't eat them? Yeah, yeah, I know. And there's no good surprises in half-boiled Easter eggs that you. Yeah, it's really dicey. By the way, I just wanted to also give you some good friendly advice. I picked up this advice. If you are doing an egg hunt with your children later, what you do is hide 48 eggs and then tell them you hid 50. You'll get a nap in that way. It's really, really a good way to do that. So we're going to be talking today. I'm going to actually be preaching on a text that I typically don't preach on when it comes to Easter. It's because it's a story that it still happens on Easter, but we just don't really connect that story with Easter, and that's Luke 14, starting at verse 13. And this story, I think, is really important. I think it's going to be pretty amazing when we think about it, because we already know what's happened. You know, Jesus on Good Friday died. He died on a cross. He died a gruesome death. Even though he was innocent, he was killed, and he was killed on our behalf. And so we use fancy phrases like substitutionary atonement. What that means is Jesus took my place. Just as Jesus took Barabbas' place literally in the center cross, so Jesus stands in our place and takes the punishment that we deserve. But of course, we know that he didn't stay dead. That's the whole idea. Celebrating someone's death is kind of morbid unless the person is actually alive. So we know that then 3 days later, Christ is risen. Oh. Yeah, you got to stay with me. Come on, people. So we're thankful that happened, and it actually radically changed all of human history. Up until that point, the people worshiped on Saturdays. But somehow or other, the entire calendar changed, and as Christians went out, they celebrated on Sundays because that was the day that Christ was risen. good. Now you're getting it. Yeah. And you can be loud and obnoxious too. I'm totally loud and obnoxious as well. So what a wonderful thing that we celebrate. And then we see Jesus showing up to people's places. We see Jesus showing up to different disciples and different people and even to the women. And he's doing this incredible thing of being a part of their life. So Luke 24:13. So if you take a quick little peek back, Luke 24:1-12 is the resurrection story. As Mary and the others went to the tomb, Peter goes to the tomb. And then we have the story, and it says, now that same day, so this is the exact same day. So this is still Easter Sunday when this event takes place. Now the same day, two of them were going to a village called Emmaus. We don't know who the two are, two of the disciples. They're just walking around. And it was about 7 miles from Jerusalem. They were talking with each other about everything that had happened, and as they talk and discuss these things with each other, Jesus himself came up and walked along with them, but they were kept from recognizing him. So again, we have no reason why are they going to Emmaus? What was their purpose? What was their point? But what we do know is that they're arguing. It says discussed, but it's actually a really super strong word. Like when you have a discussion with your wife and she's calmly explaining to you to put your shoes away for the 700th time. It's kind of like that discussion. And so they're having this debate, and of course, what are they debating? What are they discussing? Well, they're upset. Why are they upset? Because Jesus is dead, and they don't know what to do with it. They had spent 3 years of their life. You got to imagine 3 years of doing nothing but following a guy down the dusty roads. And all you did was watch him. You wanted to imitate him. You wanted to essentially be him. And all of a sudden, he dies. Well, what do? You can't follow him anymore. So they started returning kind of back to their lives. So we think that these two disciples were from Emmaus, and so they're like, well, let's leave Jerusalem and head on back. Like, what else are we going to do here in Jerusalem? And as they're debating, like, man, I thought he was going to die. I thought he was going to come back to life. And I thought so too, but maybe we got that wrong. That doesn't really make any sense. And they're like, well, but wait, isn't today the third day? Well, yeah, I guess today's the third day, but have you heard anything? Nope, I haven't seen any updates by Jesus on his social media accounts that he's alive yet. So he's probably not there. No one's talking about it. So I don't think that he's alive. Well, what do? I guess we just go back home. And as they're walking into discussing, you got to imagine Jesus. He's doing some power walking, right? I love that he does this, right? He's just doing the nice walking, and he's catching up to these disciples, which is funny. If I were Jesus, I would have just showed up like right next to them, but he doesn't want to scare them. He doesn't want to spook them. So he appears further back, and he comes along, and he just kind of overtakes them, and they're like, hey, what's up, guys? He's like, oh, hey, how are you? And then I love Jesus' conversation. I love Jesus so much. He is so awesome. Look at his discussion. He asked them, this is verse 17, what are you discussing together as you walk along? Right? Here's the Savior of the universe, the one who knows all, sees all, hears all, is all, and he asks them, what you guys talking about? Right? I love it. And again, these two disciples, for 3 years, they've been with Jesus, but they don't recognize him. Now, several theories on that. Some people believe that it was just simply like God kind of hiding it from that person, so they didn't recognize him. Some people believe that Jesus had a beard. There's an Old Testament prophecy about how they pluck out his beard, and so if he was now beardless and also scarred and tons of facial deformities, that also could be the case. I remember when my dad shaved one time, and I came home, and I swear there was a stranger in my house, and I went on attack mode, like, no, this guy's going down. He's like, son, it's me. And I'm like, Dad, you look weird. And so we don't know if it's that. We have no idea why they can't see him, but they don't recognize him. So when he asked the question, hey, what you guys talking about? No one really looked at him like, do I know you? No, they're convinced. They're convinced Jesus is dead. They're convinced he's not anywhere. So they stood still. They stopped their walking, and their faces downcast. One of them, named Cleopas, asked him, are you only a visitor to Jerusalem and do not know the things that have happened there in these days? Like everyone's heard about it. I mean, Passover was huge. It was overrun. Jerusalem was overrun with people, and Jesus' death was a very public death. And so they're like, dude, like, where have you been? Like under a rock somewhere? This is about the best of the jokes that I got, people. So, I mean, if you don't laugh at the times, it's not going to get any better. And so Jesus just, he's playing along. He's like, there's been some stuff going on. And he goes, what things? I just love Jesus. And he asked about Jesus of Nazareth. They replied, he was a prophet, powerful in word and deed before God and all the people. The chief priests and our rulers handed him over to be sentenced to death, and they crucified him. But we had hoped that he was the one who was going to redeem Israel. And what is more, it is the third day since this all took place. In addition, some of our women amazed us. They went to the tomb early in the morning but didn't find his body. They came and told us that they had seen a vision of angels who said he was alive. Then some of our companions went to the tomb and found it just as the woman had said, but him they did not see. So they're like really confused. Like there's all these reports, but I just don't know what's going on and what to believe and how to believe it. And I feel sad for them because they're just kind of wandering down the road. They're kind of aimless, kind of purposeless. They've got no purpose in their travels, and they're downcast, and they're arguing, and they're upset, and they're like, we'd hoped this was the guy, but clearly he's not the guy, but I don't know, he might be the guy because the women said that was the case, but I'm not really sure. So I'm kind of confused. I got a lot of questions. I like these guys. They need some answers. Well, Jesus is wonderful that way. He said to them, how foolish you are, right? And Jesus says the same things to us, right? How foolish you are, and how slow of heart to believe all that the prophets have spoken. Did not the Christ have to suffer these things and then enter into his glory? And beginning with Moses and all the prophets, he explained to them what was said in all the scriptures concerning himself. So he goes through this Old Testament Bible study. It's an incredible Bible study. I would have loved to have heard that, but we don't know exactly what was said. But even through all of that, they're still not quite getting it. And then what's really cool, I'm not going to read it, but I'll just kind of summarize it for you. It's really neat. They get ready to stop at the town that they're going to be bunking at for the night, right? And Jesus acts like he's just going to keep on going, right? He's waiting for an invitation. Hey, you should stay with us, right? So he's going to keep walking on, and they do. They say, hey, Jesus. No, not Jesus. They don't know it's him. Hey, strange dude that walks really fast. Come and sit with us. We're going to spend the night. We're going to have some food. And so they sit down and they start eating. And Jesus takes the bread and he breaks it. And then he hands it to him. And as he hands it to him, what do you think became visible at that point? His holes in his hands, right? You take the piece of bread and you're like, dude, you got a hole in your hand. You must have been crucified. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it clicks. That's Jesus. And then the coolest thing happens, Jesus disappears from their sight. Yes, Jesus. That's the fun things I would do if I were Jesus. I'd be like just zapping all over the place. But what's interesting about this is he didn't wait for the disciples to find him. In fact, he did it the other way around. He sought them out. Same thing with Mary, right? Going back to the tomb, right? Mary is stressed out. She's worried. She's come to the tomb. It's empty. She doesn't know what's going on. She sees someone. She sees these angels, and they give her the message, hey, he's not here. Christ is risen. Beautiful. And and then look, you can come into the tomb, check it out. He's not here, but now go and tell the disciples what's going on. But Mary is hanging back, and she's really stressed out. She's really worried. She's really sad. And then she finds this guy, and she goes, oh, this must be the gardener, right? So she goes, again, same strange thing. Like she's been following Jesus this whole time. Like she doesn't recognize Jesus. And she's like, hey, gardener man, I'm really struggling and suffering. They took the body of my Lord, and so can you tell me where he went? And then Jesus says her name, Mary, and she recognizes Jesus. But isn't it interesting? There's Mary wandering around, lost, confused, has no idea what to do, and Jesus comes and finds her. Same thing with the disciples. After this story here, it talks about how the disciples were all hanging out in Jerusalem, and they were behind closed doors. Why were they behind closed doors? They were scared. They were freaking out because they were like, they killed Jesus. If they killed Jesus, they could come after us too, and they probably will come after us, and we don't know what to do about this. And what does Jesus do? Does Jesus say, yeah, you know what? You've got a lot of fear. So sorry. Just kind of sit in your fear for a while. Hopefully someday you'll believe, and that'll be great. No, what does he do? Jesus actually shows up in the upper room, walks in, and says, peace be with you. And then he breathes on them and says, receive the Holy Spirit. And all of a sudden, they are all starting to piece it together. Jesus didn't just leave them where they were at. He sought them out. He found, and I think a lot of people believe in this idea of we finding God. And I understand how that happens because when it sure does feel like we look for God. It sure feels like I was seeking after God and I found him, and so now I'm coming to faith. I think it's the other way around. I think Jesus has been on the hunt for you. I know he was on the hunt for me. Throughout my life, there's times that I have strayed off a path or have been wrapped up in my own stuff. Or maybe I've got fear that's dominating my heart. And you know what God does? He hunts us down. He finds us where we are at. The great hunt of Jesus is one of these things that should hopefully give you this wonderful peace. And we say things like, well, I came to faith. And then we read scriptures and we find out no one can come to faith without God doing it first, without God giving that faith to us. And so we think we did something, but it was actually God that did it all along. It's this incredible thing, how he seeks us out and how he finds us. He finds us when we're scared, when we're lonely, when we're confused, when we're depressed, when we're aimless. God is looking for you. I will say, this is my all-time favorite movie. It is a movie that actually has a lot of religious overtones in it, though it was created by some people that I don't think were very religious. But it's really fun to dissect this movie. My favorite movie of all times, The Matrix. It's a great movie. Yes, all the guys are like, The Matrix, yes. It's a little older, I get it, right? But The Matrix has this incredible line. It's between Neo and Morpheus. Neo is the Keanu Reeves character, right? A lot of you people know him as John Wick. I know him as Neo from, or Mr. Anderson, right? And so Neo has been hunting this guy named Morpheus, the Lawrence Fishburne character. And they finally get together, and Neo finally gets to meet this guy he's been searching after over and over and over. And he's like, I finally get to see Morpheus. And Morpheus gives this line. It's one of the top lines in the movie. It says, you may have spent the last few years looking for me, but I have spent my entire life looking for you. You may have been spending your life, so maybe the past few years, past few months, looking for God and looking for Jesus. He has spent his entire existing looking for you. And you may be trapped. You may be thinking, gosh, I have no purpose in life. It's pointless. Why are we even here? You may be struggling with identity, like, who am I fundamentally as a person? And you're looking for something and looking for something, but guess what? The whole time, Jesus is looking for you. And he says, I've got an identity for you. You are my child, and I love you with an everlasting love. And I died, and I came back to life. And that proves just what lengths I will go to. You may be fearful. There's a lot of fear going around in today's society, right? Maybe you're part of that. Maybe you're fearful of what's going to happen. Maybe you're fearful because of what society is doing. Maybe you're fearful because of all of the crazy stuff happening all throughout the world. And you are dominated by this fear, and you're struggling, and you're like, where am I going to find some peace? Where am I going to find some courage? And so you try to find it in a bunch of different places. Sometimes it's your friend Jim Beam or your friend Jack Daniels. Maybe you find kind of some comfort and solace because you got a credit card and you've got a really cool Amazon account and they just constantly are delivering stuff. Or maybe you are addicted to social media and you're like, this is what feeds me, this is what provides for me, this is something that is wonderful for me. And you are looking for something to provide you comfort. You know what? Maybe give Jesus a try. And maybe seek him. But I'll let you in on something. Jesus has been searching you out because he wants to give you something else. He wants to give you courage that transcends the challenges of today. Again, you might be just wandering down a road. And I tell you, it's amazing how God continues to find us out. I don't know why you're here today. Could be here for a bunch of different reasons, but I'll tell you this. Jesus knew you were going to be here, and what a wonderful, comforting thing that is. And so important that you know, and Jesus has been looking for you. He's been on the hunt. Not for Easter eggs, not for Cadbury eggs, not for half hard-boiled eggs that have been sitting in the sun. He's been looking for you, and he wants to be in relationship with you. A lot of people have asked me throughout the years how we came up with the name Searchlight Ministries. Now, when we did this was back in 2001, and back then it seemed like every other church had something to do with lighthouses. Now, don't get me wrong, I love lighthouses. But I believe with all of my heart that lighthouses is terrible theology. Because what does a lighthouse say? There is danger, do not come here. Right? Wouldn't that be a great name for a church? Don't come to our church. It's dangerous. Don't come near here. This is really bad. And so I had a bunch of people, they were designing me stuff. They're like, oh, Searchlight, and they put a little lighthouse there. I'm like, no, I hate it. I hate everything about that. It's horrible. No, I want people, it's not that we're shining a light saying people stay away. It's more like the light that we have is like a searchlight, a seeking light. And we go out and we search and we find people and we let them know that God has been looking for them all along. And somehow or other, I can't remember who said it, but someone said, oh, Searchlight. Oh, that's amazing. And then I did a quick little search through the Bible, and I found out that there was, in fact, a passage that actually uses the word search and light in the exact same passage, and it comes from the book of Luke. It comes from a triad of stories. And the first story is about this woman who lost a coin. And you would think to yourself, I lose change all the time. I could probably fund a full meal at Taco Bell with all the change in my couch, with all the change in my car. How many of you got the little penny pull-outs that you, yeah. It's crazy how change doesn't really matter to us anymore. But to this woman, it did. She lost a coin. And it may not have been valuable to other people, but it was valuable to her. And what does she do? She grabs a light and searches her house to find it. And that's what God does for us. He's been searching for you. And what's really interesting about that is how many coins do you have that can find their way back to their owners? Can coins cry out? If they did, it would be freaky, and I think all of us would be super scared. Right? The coin's not sitting on there like, I'm over here in the corner. You know, that would be weird. The coin can't save itself, right? The coin's just sitting there. The coin needs someone to find it. And so God is telling the story saying, that's what I'm doing. I'm searching for you. And I want to find you. And I don't want you to be wandering around anymore lost and confused. I don't want you to be hurt in all the stuff that's been happening in your life and you thinking that there's no relief from this. I don't want you to be wandering around and feeling angry or feeling fearful. We turn to God and we find out He'd been searching for us all along because we know that Christ is risen.